Hi, 7th graders. This is Miss Juhas talking. I'm going to be giving you lesson 1-9, which is arithmetic sequences. If you hear a lot of talking or noise in the background, that would be the computer lab class next door. They are just making way too much noise. It's driving me up the wall. Anyway, hopefully you can hear my voice. A couple of things I want to point out is please remember that you do have a test on Chapter 1 next Tuesday. And it is a pretty big chapter, so if you haven't started practicing problems from the earlier sections, like maybe retaking your quizzes, see if you can still solve those problems, now would be the time to do that. I'm also going to remind you that next Tuesday I'm collecting your math notebooks, and I'm going to look inside them and see if you have your notes there from all of the videos, and I'm going to be looking to see that you have the vocabulary there. That is a graded assignment. So please remember that the words that I need to see definitions for are posted on Google Classroom, and I need to see a definition of each word, and I need to see an example of each word. That and the video notes are what I'm going to be grading when I collect your notebooks next Tuesday. Okay, let's talk about arithmetic sequences. And I guess the best way to start that is to just take a look at the following image in front of you with all of these squares. And now is the time to start doing some pattern recognition. Can you see a pattern in the series of squares in front of you? And hopefully you can, and right off the bat you should notice that the first image has 1 square, the second image has 3 squares, the third image has 5 squares, and the final image has 7 squares. When we see a series of numbers like this, 1, 3, 5, and 7, we call it a sequence. A sequence is an ordered list of numbers. And hopefully by looking at this sequence, you can identify a pattern. And the pattern for this one is that every time you go to the next term in the sequence, you are adding 2. Okay, so let's do some basic vocabulary here. As I said before, a sequence is an ordered list of numbers, and each number in the sequence is called a term. So that's a word that you want to become comfortable with. The number 8, 11, 14, 17, and 20 in this particular sequence, these are all terms. And each of these terms has an order. You can see that 8 is the first number in this sequence. So 8 would be considered the first term. 11 is the second number in this sequence, so 11 would be called the second term. And 14 is the third term, and 17 is the fourth term, and 20 is the fifth term. It is important to know what order in the sequence the number is coming. This is an arithmetic sequence, and here's the vocabulary, ding, ding, ding. You can tell it's an arithmetic sequence because each term is found by adding the same number to the previous term. So if you take a look at this, remember the sequence is 8, 11, 14, 17, and 20. And when you identify the pattern, which is +3 in every case, you can tell that you are constantly adding the same number, 3. Since you're always adding the same number, that's what makes it an arithmetic sequence. There are different kinds of sequences. Some of them ask you to multiply, and some of them ask you to do some algebra. But this is the most basic one. This is an arithmetic sequence. Okay, so the final thing I want to do is point out to how you would use this in algebra and when you're making tables. Again, I want to emphasize the position. There are 2 vocabulary words you need to kind of come familiar with. The first one is the term number, which is also known as the position. And the second is the term value, which is the actual number that you're looking at. So you need to be able to take an arithmetic sequence like the one you see up here, 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10, and turn it into a table that you can use to write a mathematical equation. So in order to use the table, you have to be able to identify the position. So let's take an example here. If we look at the term number, which is its position, we can see that we have a first position, a second position, a third position, a fourth position, and so on. If we look at the value of the term in that position, we can see that in the first position we have the number 2. In the second position, we have the number 4. In the third position, we have the number 6. And in the fourth position, we have the number 8. Now, here's the next question. Can you see the relationship between the term number and the value? Can you see how you would alter the term number in order to get the value? This is where we actually get into some algebra. So let's take a look at the table down here and see if we can talk our way through it. We can see right here that the term numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The 1 means that that number is in the first position. The 2 means the number is in the second position. The 3 means the number is in the third position, and so on. If we look how we take that position and somehow get an answer of 2, there has to be an operation that we're going to perform. So your next challenge then is to identify the operation. What operation do we do to the number 1 in order to get the number 2? And you can see that we are multiplying by 2. If you take a look in the second position, what operation are we doing to the number 2 in order to get the number 4? And in that case, again, we are multiplying by 2. If you take a look at the third position, for the third time, if you take the number 3, what do you do to the number 3 in order to get the number 6? And finally, and last time, you're going to multiply it by 2. So this is a geometric sequence because you're multiplying to find the value of the term. I'm hoping that's as far as they get. If there's further confusion, please stop and ask me questions in class, and we can go over it some more. But identifying what's going on in that operation is crucial for the rest of the year because it's going to help you identify equations that you're going to write. Okay, and I just thought I'd share this with you. I might be asking you about this during class. This is my mother's dog, Molly, who's been keeping me up every night because every time she hears a noise outside, she has to jump off the bed and go bark at it. That's all I have for you tonight. Take care, guys. Bye.